Hi everyone, welcome back to another exclusive podcast from IronFX, where we're dedicated to bringing you the absolute best education to help you take your trading to the next level. My name is Ketan Ramachandra, and in today's podcast, we'll be talking about how is crude oil affected by geopolitical risks. Now, before we dive into why crude oil is affected by such risks or events, let's take a quick look at this important commodity. Crude oil is a raw natural resource that is extracted from the earth and refined into products such as gasoline, jet fuel, and other petroleum products. Crude oil is a global commodity that trades in the markets around the world, both as spot oil and via derivatives contracts. Many economists view crude oil as the single most important commodity in the world, as it is currently the primary source of energy production. Now, geopolitical events can manifest themselves in many ways, and each event carries its own set of risks, and with each risk, its own set of consequences. Over the past 18 months, we have unfortunately experienced and continue to navigate through two major geopolitical events, namely the Russian invasion of Ukraine in February of 2022 and the recent conflict in the Middle East that began in early October of 2023. Now, we may ask, how do these events impact the crude oil market? So let's just we'll use these two recent examples as the case studies. Now, as I mentioned earlier, no geopolitical event is the same, and it can have different impact with regards to crude oil as well. Alright, now, when the invasion of Ukraine took place in February of 2022, many commodities along with crude oil spiked, as both Russia and Ukraine are key exporters of energy and agricultural commodities to not only Europe but to many other key global markets. Thus, we saw a huge increase in the prices of these commodities, which in turn functioned as an additional catalyst to what was already a high inflationary environment. Initially, there was extreme fear and uncertainty that the safe passage of these key commodities, including crude oil and natural gas, would be disrupted or even halted, that caused their prices to surge. Moving on to 2023, where ongoing geopolitical tensions between Israel and Palestine have spilled over into a major conflict in the Middle East. Although neither country is a producer of crude oil, there is potential risk that the conflict could pull in nations from the wider region. Now, this could in turn then impact production capabilities and even disrupt the world's most important sea route for crude oil, which is the Strait of Hormuz. Right, the Strait of Hormuz is a key sea passage that lies between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. It is a very narrow sea passage, and in fact, it is one of the world's most strategically important choke points, where an average of 14 tankers pass through per day, carrying approximately 7 million barrels of crude oil, according to the US Energy Information Administration in 2011. Right, so this translates into 35% of the world's seaborne oil shipments and 20% of all traded worldwide. So no small figures by any means. Thus, we can now understand why this region is extremely important to the global supply of oil, and how any major geopolitical event stemming from this region can have a profound impact on oil supply and, of course, oil prices. Right. Anyways, that's all from me for today's podcast on how crude oil is affected by geopolitical risk. Do remember to subscribe to our podcast here at IronFX, where we're dedicated to bringing you the very best education to take your trading to the next level. Until then, stay safe and trade safe.